Imbento lang.
Welcome to Imbento Lang, the show where we delve into the minds of Filipino innovators who have left an indelible mark on science, technology, and society. I'm your host, Steve, and today we have the privilege of talking to Cris Azaña, the CEO and co-founder of Azcalun, developer of the service app Kazam. Azcalun was formed to fulfill the founders' long-held vision of working together to enhance the quality of their fellow Filipinos' lives by using technology to solve real-world problems. The company's project was Kazam, an online service to connect homeowners with Kasambahays, performing roles such as childcare, senior care, cooking, maid, family driver, houseboy, and store assistants. We're here to discover one of the innovators who gave birth to this platform, so we hope you will join us as we uncover the stories of Filipino inventors. This is Imbento Lang. Stay tuned for our conversation with Cris. Hi, Cris. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. We're so happy that you're here. So let me just start off with a question. Could you tell me more about yourself and how did Azcalun came to be?
Okay. So, hi, everyone. I'm Cris Azaña. As Steve mentioned, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kazam. It's an online that connects. It's an online platform that connects homeowners and Kasambahays directly to each other. So, as your question, how it all started, it actually all started here.
In Ateneo?
Yeah, like around 20 plus years ago. 3 of the founders, including myself, was doing our integrative project for Comtech. We're all Comtech students, and at that time we were also looking at the online platform. So we did that project. It was similar to Kazam, but
Okay.
it was more. It's also service oriented, and we were so into it that we knew the cost and everything. It was a very nice project, and we all thought, we should make this one day. But it was so expensive. The cost of servers, you could just imagine.
Yeah.
They were too much. We're talking millions. So we parked that, and we all went our separate ways. We all went and pursued our careers, did businesses, and then the pandemic happened. And we were all stuck at home,
Right.
and there were a lot of Zoom meetings with this set of friends. And we all thought, hey, why don't we revisit that project? Because, our 20 years of graduation is coming up.
Wow.
So we said, why don't we launch something in celebration of our 20th year of anniversary at graduation, because we graduated in 2002. So we said, okay. So we got back there. We started thinking if it could be done. But then we said, hold on, it seems like that was already done. Then we went back to the drawing board and we started pitching different ideas. But that was the inspiration, right? And then one persistent problem that seems to be coming up was this hardship of homeowners finding Kasambahays. So that was that was the first time Kazam was pitched, along with other ideas.
Yeah.
So we decided. So we're here, a group of friends trying to decide we want to create an app, right? So we started. Even if we had that project in mind, we still pitched different ideas. And after deliberating all our ideas, we all unanimously chose Kazam to be the first project for Azcalun. So the project I was talking about was more trying to connect mga plumbers, electricians.
Right.
But then we thought, that's already being done by 𝗔𝗯𝗂𝘁. 𝗔𝗯 was still active at the time. And we said, let's start niche. And the Kasambahay, domestic service industry, seemed like something that's untapped. Nobody has, we don't know anyone that has done it yet successfully. So, sabi namin, and the pain is real. Because, we feel it. We feel the pain. We're homeowners. We hire Kasambahays. And then our friends and family we're hearing the same problem on how hard it is to find the right kasambahay and how the turnover is so high. But then more importantly, we wanted the project, the app, to have that social component as well. You know, we didn't want it to be just a business. We wanted to mean something. We wanted to have a deeper meaning, like, you know, not just money. So we said, the Kasambahays, you know, that's it. Graduating from Ateneo, something's always driven to us, no, in our heads, that we should be men and women for others.
Right.
So naturally, when we start venturing into entrepreneurship, we also want to be entrepreneurs for others.
Like, it's always in the back of your
Yes,
head.
it's all, you know, if you studied here, it's all, I don't know how they did it, but it's there. So like, since obviously we've had at the time around 20, each of us had 20 years work experience already, this one is we wanted it to mean something. We wanted it to come from the heart. We wanted it to be more than just earning or like, you know, profits. We wanted it also to really be helpful.
Yeah.
Well, already it's helpful with homeowners. But like, you know, we saw it as a venue na parang, why is there no LinkedIn for Kasambahays? Why is there no job sheet for Kasambahays? Because it's so informal. So parang we said, so when the idea started na, oh sige, so mukhang may problema yung mga homeowners. Siyempre yung una kasi yun yung na-feel namin, the pain, di ba? Pero tingnan natin yung Kasambahay. How can we really help that? How can we professional that side of the market, that informal sector? Wala silang place to really say that it's theirs, to be able to just go there and find a good employer. Sabi ko, sige, let's do it. So yun, the four of us decided that, you know, sige, let's do this. It seems like, it's in line. If we're gonna be doing this thing as a celebration of our 20th year anniversary of our graduation from Ateneo, then it just seems also fitting, and everything just fell into place. So that's where it all started.
That's
so
wonderful.
We decided this was gonna be after the pitches, all the ideas.
Yeah.
We decided this is the one, and then that's how it all started. That's
How long did the pitching session take?
that was long. Yeah, okay. We started talking about it early 2021. So like we were just joking around mga January, right?
Sure.
So pero we said, oh no, mukhang seryoso na to. So April of 2021, we started the whole pitching thing. So like each founder came up with an idea and then pitched it to the other. There was e-commerce, there was another app there was an app for seniors, and there was Kazam. There were three. By April, so we were around a month or two. By April, we decided the idea was gonna be Kazam. By May, we were incorporated.
This was all done online.
Yeah, online, because it was COVID.
Yeah.
2021's COVID. So like, it helped that we were, some of the founders have full-time work.
I see.
Two of us, Jums and I, we were involved in the family business. So like, we have more flexible schedules. But since they were working from home, literally, we were talking about it every day. So like, we had the time, and they had the time, because they weren't required to go to the office. So, yun, it was so fast. So April, we decided it was gonna be Kazam. May, we incorporated, and then between May, I think in the next 2 months, so we looked at who could develop it for us, our MVP. And then by December, we were live.
That's
2021.
amazing.
Yeah, but it took longer to go live because I think the whole design process took a while. We really wanted to create an MVP that was very easy and simple to use, because we knew it was going to be a new thing. We knew that education, we do not have the resources to educate. So we had to put in the design into the strategy to make sure that it was easy for users to figure it out for themselves.
Right. Let me go back to that. So from the get-go, you were, aside from your inspiration, since you experienced it yourself, you also mentioned that you asked families and friends about their qualms, their challenges about getting the problem statement, quote
Yeah.
unquote. And then you've mentioned like going through the design process also. Did you also, how was that like? Did you kind of like introduce it even as low prototypes
No.
to other people? How did you kind of figure out the features that you want
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
Okay, so what we did was, so the reason when we were starting with the idea, it all started because we were hearing already the pain points.
Yeah.
It was already, anecdotally, we were hearing it already. So even before, at the idea stage, we already had an idea what the problem or what the pain points were from the homeowner's point of view. And then for the Kasambahay, the research that we did was really to go into the Facebook Kasambahay groups and
Okay.
then see how it was, communicate, touch base with some people there and try to see what are the hardships, no? And then when we start with when it came to the design, we really thought, we have to make it as simple as possible. So like we looked at the different apps that these users were using, that they were already familiar with, and we used them as the basis of how the design was going to be. Because as I've said earlier, we knew that there was going to be limited resources to launch this, and it's not really cheap to launch an app. So we have to make sure that instinctively it would be easy for them to figure it out on their own, especially for the Kasambahay side, because the Kasambahays are not as tech savvy as
Right.
homeowners. So we have to really look what apps or what social media are they using, and how does it work there.
Yeah.
And then like that was incorporated into the design. So yeah.
And fast forward now, what were the results like? What were the feedback from these users?
You know what was funny? I'll give you a funny story. Well, not really funny, but what happened to us.
Go for it.
So there were a lot of assumptions. Obviously, when you start something, you start with assumptions, right? Or you make your hypothesis or your assumptions, and then you take a leap of faith that your assumptions are correct. Even if you talk to as many users or as many potential users as you can, you
Okay.
still make some assumptions, right? So we built it. We built the minimum viable product with just a chat feature, to see if they were already willing to connect at that level. So we thought, we first launched Kazam only in mobile, in a web app form.
Okay. Removing the...
There was no mobile app at
Yeah.
the start. When we launched it the first time in December 2021, it was just in web, available in
Okay.
the web. Thinking that Kasambahays wouldn't want to download an app because of the memory. And we were
Yeah.
thinking, again, assumption. Their phones are probably don't have a lot of memory, therefore we shouldn't launch an app. Baka we'll just be overspending. So we just went with a web app.
Okay.
And then the initial feedback that came in from the Kasambahays is like, how do I access this? Where's Sanang browser? Ano yung mobile browser? They oh my God. And we were like,
Wow.
oh no. So like, wala po bang app, ma'am? So parang kami, oh no, they're looking for an app. There are more, parang the initial feedback was like they were asking for an app. Parang they're more comfortable with an app. And some of them don't even know where the browser was. So parang kami, okay, we were thinking that 6 months pa yung development ng mobile app. We launched immediately the moment that that we found out that the Kasambahays were having a hard time with the mobile browser, that we had to explain it for them to log in. We started development immediately of the mobile app.
That must have been so surprising
Yeah,
for
it was.
you guys.
Kasi it was. We really, that's what I said. In the creative process, you start with assumptions. And you think, and then, you have to really get the feedback to see if those assumptions are wrong or correct. So, like, it will really lead it. It will dictate what the next development is going to be, or how fast the next development will be.
Right.
Or even the prioritization of all the features that are going to be
Yeah.
launched.
Essentially, you developed it with your users along the way.
Yes,
no?
of course. Until now, it's still like
Yeah.
that. Like, we still talk to them as much as we can, as much as they're willing to talk to us. Because, yeah, it will really be based on them. That's why when we started the startup, none of us had done a startup before. So like I started with reading books, no, and I think one book that was most helpful to me was Eric Rice's Lean Startup. So that's when I know that you have to have an MVP pala. Of course, my CTO Ron already knew about it. So like he was talking about MVPs. What are you talking about? So like read a lot of books, right? So there, and we had to really agreed on the cheapest and most bare. And I think it wasn't pa nga because you're right. Some MVPs you don't even have to have a build yet at all, right? We could have done this offline. But no, we went straight with an MVP that was web already, at least web app.
Right.
So that was our MVP, the first one. And then, we tried to build it with just one feature, which is the chat. That's it. And then the carousel, of course. The carousel is like where you do the searching. That's it. So that's it. And we stayed there for quite some time because it was so hard to get users in the platform. So, yeah. But, you start with something small or like something bare. And then you get the feedback. And then that's where. So we never really made any more enhancements until we got more feedback. So what is important? What is important to the users? So aside from the mobile app, that was it for quite some time. Oh, after the mobile app. So mobile app, diba? Because the Kasambahays were demanding that we have a mobile app. And then we realized, so we thought that, okay, may mobile app na, so may notification na, right? Na-notify na dapat yung mga ano. But then, we realized that Kasambahays don't have, sometimes don't have load or do not have internet access.
How is it important?
Because if a homeowner is already chatting with a Kasambahay and he or she is not in the platform, they won't be able to get to talk, right? We still have the chat feature was still the only feature at the time to connect them. And so it was another problem. Sabi na, oh my God, we didn't realize that not all Kasambahays have access to internet. So we said, so we have to develop an SMS feature to notify. So that was the third development after the mobile app. Sabi namin, let's put in an SMS to take into account that some Kasambahays might not have internet all the time. So we put in an SMS feature wherein if a homeowner messages a chats with the Kasambahay, there's gonna be also an SMS notification para a Kasambahay can go online na. So that's the third thing that we developed right after the mobile app. So for a long time, those three were the only things that were going on for the platform. While also working at getting more users in. Because, it's hard to really build a platform because you have to get both of them inside. So for a long time, you were just there getting feedback and everything. Until of course, we finally decided the next level of features that has to be launched. And then the funding that we needed. So that's the next stage. But at the beginning, it was just really the web app, the mobile app, and the SMS notification.
I want to know, how was the recruitment of users like?
Oh my
did
God,
you have to
that was the stressful
step out of your comfort zone?
No, that was, so here we are, very excited with developing.
Yeah.
The creative process was the most fun for me.
Okay.
You debate, you'd say, which goes there, what's the design, what's the customer journey going to be like. So it was the most fun. So it took around 6 months 6 months in total, diba, to get it to go live. And then it's live. And then there's no one there. Crickets. Oh my God, you're so proud of what you've built. And then the next part comes in. Oh my God. And I was always talking to aides or our chief revenue officer, like, may magsa-sign up pa. So at first, we were just really meeting people, trying to reach people online. As in, very grassroots kind.
Okay.
Message them in groups, ganyan, yeah. You want to try this app. We have this app. You might want to try it, sign up. So the early months of the app was really mostly Kasambahays. There wasn't a lot of homeowners signing up. And but the Kasambahays, they were very excited. And it kind of felt bad that the homeowner side was lagging. But the Kasambahays were enthusiastic. But then comes, wala naman pong homeowner sa platform. Ganyan, diba? So parang, and then we started also doing our acquisition for homeowner faster because you don't want to be disappointing the Kasambahays. So ever since we went live, that's always been one of the things that's a priority for me, that the balance between the two of them is enough, that the supply and demand. So like it's like economics actually. You look at your analytics every day, so is there enough for them? Because without the other, it won't work. The whole platform will not work. So parang so it was tough. It was slow, to be honest, Steve. It was slow at first, but I think it started picking up 2023. That's when we realized we have to be more out there. And that's also the first time I went out and actually actively promoted the app, started joining the startup ecosystem, started running after the DOST grant. So that was the year where it took a turn. It's like, oh my God, it's actually working. 2023, we saw our numbers doubling. We saw that, oh my God, it's really working. So like, it took a while, diba? So oh my God, it's really working. And then in January this year, we said, now it's time to monetize. And it's also working. And I mean, people are buying. So parang, oh my God.
That's good.
So we're that. But it took us a while. It took us a while, first because it was COVID. So 2022 was still an adjustment for everyone going out of the pandemic. And then 2023 was the first time we actually went and said, if the thing that will make this successful is to get our faces out there and show the country who's running the show, then let's do it. So I did that, even if I was just mentioned earlier, I'm not totally comfortable with. And then it just started gaining traction. So, and then this year, finally monetizing it. It's quite a journey that you asked.
How would the sign up process be like? And what's in it for me as a Kasambahay to sign up for your platform?
Okay, so we made onboarding easy for Kasambahays. So basically, you just have to have a mobile number and of course internet access, right? So it starts off with putting your mobile number and then accepting the terms and the data privacy. And then a one-time PIN will be sent to verify your number because SMS notifications needed, as explained. And then the Kasambahay will be asked a series of questions like their basic information, name, gender, birth date, and then the questions regarding their preferences in terms of employment. So like we're talking about what roles can they perform? Can they be a maid? Are they a nanny? Are they a cook? So on and so forth. And then they can choose up to 3 roles or just one, depends on them. And then they have to be able to say what's their desired salary. And then what is their preference in terms of living arrangement? Is it stay in, stay out, or are they flexible? And then their location. These 4 questions are actually match points that are used and put into the algorithm to help with the matching with the homeowners. So that when the homeowner and a Kasambahay browses through the carousel, that's what we call where you look at all the profiles, you only get to see those that match you. So like expectations, the process becomes streamlined. The expectations of the two, parang pag nakita ko yung profile mo, at the very least, tugma na tayo on these 4 points, no? And then a profile picture is going to be asked if you want to put up one. And then you're going to be asked also if you want to verify your profile with an ID. But you can also skip that. The profile photo and the ID verification can be skipped if it's optional. And then after that, you can already see which homeowners are kamatch mo. Ibig sabihin, kung ang hiningi mo, as a Kasambahay, kung ang salary na hiningi mo is 10,000, ang mga homeowners na may 10,000 na budget lang rin, ang makikita mo. And kung ang gusto mo is stay out lang, yung mga homeowners na naghahanap ng stay out lang, yung makikita mo. And then kung, syempre, location plays a role, right? So kung stay out yan, malamang gusto mo malapit sa'yo. So that's why it's there. And then gender and age, it's all there. So as a kasambahay, I am now free to actually state what is my value. What first, in my experience, kung ano yung dati kong sahod, it's a starting point. Walang pilitan. Ito yung gusto kong salary. Ito yung makikita ng homeowner side. So by the time na nag-usap sila, interview stage na, at least at the very least, ano na sila doon? Agree na sila doon. So we can now talk about other aspects of the employment. So, I think yun eh. It's just thinking, this platform empowers them. Because number one, their profiles, the way that we designed it, magaganda yung profiles nila. It states information about them. And then, yun nga, we do not control what the Kasambahays' desired salary should be. The platform doesn't enforce or any way influence what the Kasambahays put as their salary. So they might just actually end up getting their desired salary in the platform, right? Which I don't know in others, diba? But here, it opens up for a kasambahay. All the homeowners that are in the platform, kung sino yung makaka-afford ng services nila. Now, I don't know if that happens in other channels, diba? But at least in Kazam, I mean, we're nationwide, so you can see these are your choices, and so it's empowering, I think, for Kazam. That's what's in it for them, is that they have a place to actually, find a job na sana na yun yung gusto talaga nilang salary. And so far naman, marami nang na-hire. So, I just hope that, and then, they get to talk directly to the homeowners. So, it's not a one-sided thing. It wasn't meant to be designed na yung homeowner has the power. During the interview, it is not just technically the homeowner checking out the kasambahay. That's why there's a video chat feature, because the kasambahay can also assess the homeowner. Diba? We are not, it's really, you go on an interview, just like any professional interview, when a prospective candidate is being interviewed by a prospective employer, diba? They get a sense of each other. So we're trying to do that for the kasambahays, that they get that experience, which I don't think they are getting. There's no platform that does
the
that for them.
traditional way.
Yeah. There's no platform that gives them that avenue wherein they can, online, they can be interviewed, negotiate a salary, tell exactly what they can do, sell their skills and experience, right? Is there? I don't know. But here, because it's online and it's a platform and it's open nationwide, opens up a world of different kinds of homeowners. Kung maybe yung referral system can only get them so much because it's based on their network, this one is a bigger level.
It's a game changer.
Diba?
It is.
Diba? Kasi ito lahat. These are all the homeowners that are looking. Let's say your profile, as a kasambahay, your profile says, I am a maid with a salary of 10,000 who's okay with a stay-in living arrangement. Which homeowners have that? These are the homes. And if you're a kasambahay and you are matched, only those homeowners that match your points, right? You can send a wave you can click the wave icon so that to indicate to the homeowner na you wanna be interviewed by that homeowner. So that's
Very
actually
simple.
how it works.
Yeah.
We want to make the design simple, but I think that's how we wanted it to be. And the thing is, ID verification, for example, it's for both sides. Both kasambahays and homeowners can do it. Because we also wanna, if homeowners, we're also encouraging them to verify themselves. Kasi, we also wanna protect the kasambahay. So, it's not like a one-sided thing. What's available in one is available for the other.
Yeah.
Except maybe for the chat, because that's how we monetize the app. The initial chat. So that's the only thing. But everything else, it's the platform, the app is free for Kasambahays.
That's
So
good.
so
Yeah.
it's actually just the homeowners that are being charged a subscription if they want access. But Kazam is free, 100% free
For the
for
Kasambahays.
Kasambahays, because this is after all. And I forgot to mention this in the creative process, but I don't know if you noticed, but Kazam is really named after Kasambahays. So because it was really intentionally for them. So I think that's how the platform can empower, or like, in a sense, professionalize. But the thing is, this is just now. There are other ways, there are other plans in the pipeline that would make these profiles become more professional, more, but then the thing is, you don't shock them. You do
Mhm.
not make them, because it's friction. If we make them do it all at the start, right? So we kind of ease it
in,
into
yeah.
them and like learn how, and then, eventually the dream is that it becomes their LinkedIn or it becomes their job stream.
Fantastic. Lovely. Looking back, was 2022, 2023 the really right time to do it and step out? Or if you could have done things differently, would you have stepped out much earlier?
I think we could have done it earlier. We wanted to do it in 2022 actually, but it was by 2022. So here's how we started ending up in the finding out about that there's actually a startup ecosystem.
Right.
We didn't know that in 2021, to be honest. We didn't know that there was such things as TBIs or like accelerators. I wasn't familiar with that, to be honest. We were business people, but we're the traditional business people.
Okay.
We
You're
have
brick and
family
mortar,
businesses.
yeah.
Yeah. So the startup scene was totally new for me. So in 2022, you know how important runways are for founders. I told them, okay, it's either we raise or we start funding this thing again. We do another round of funding of the founders. And in 2022, that's when I started, but that's when I researched, oh, there are grants. There was DICT, that was the first one I found out, and DOST. That's a second. Sabi ko, let's do DOST. But in 2022, the call for the Startup Grant Fund program was done.
Okay.
So that's why, even if I wanted to step out in 2022, I was waiting for the DICT and DOST grants proposal to open up.
Right.
But it was already closed. It was late 2022.
Okay.
So that's why it got delayed. But yes, I would have wanted to do it in 2022, but
Right.
I missed the deadline. So in March 2023, DOST, RITTD, of the group of Miss Russell Pili and Sir Engineer Apigo did startup grant fund boot camp, wherein they invited startups who wanted to submit proposals for this grant. So that was the first time I found out, I was in a room with other founders. And that was the first time I realized, there are TBIs. And that's the first time I realized, the grant is a possibility.
Mhm.
So, or like what I needed to do to get that for the company. From there, so we went through the process. We submitted our proposal to DOST, and then after a grueling 2 months, the grueling 40-day evaluation, we were able to get the grant. And when we were able to get the grant, syempre, it opened up a lot of other things for us. Like, they told us that we have to get an accelerator. So we applied for the Idea Space Accelerator. And all these things, parang from there, it's like a whole different level of activity for us. Before, we were like working in a silo. Just us, all our ideas. You're thinking, 20 years of experience. We know everything.
Yeah.
Diba?
I was about to ask, what's the experience like meeting with all these co-founders who
It was
experienced the
good.
same
It was
challenges as
good.
you did?
It was actually very good, Steve, because, as I've said, so we were operating 2021, 2022, just us, right? Everything was so, just us.
Yeah.
Your users are users. And then because we needed money and we applied for the Startup Grant Fund program, we were introduced to other founders. Syempre, during the seminar or the boot camp of DOST, you get to hear the other founders that are doing their start, what they're doing, their challenges. Made you feel na, oh, you're not alone pala. I mean, the experiences that we've been going through are experiences they're going through. So, and then you realize that there are programs that could actually help startups like us, like Idea Space, for example. We were part of their flagship acceleration program for cohort 11 in 2023 as well. We learned a lot from there. There are some nuances of the startup business that's very different from traditional ones that we appreciated, like, how to raise funds, the design thinking process. So, it really helped us. So, like, it kind of upped their game a lot.
Right.
So that's why it wasn't a matter of not wanting to do it in 2022. It was because we thought at the time the grants were our way to get the funds. No, so we waited for that. But like, had I known, siguro maybe if had I known that there was more to it into the ecosystem than what I knew, which is the government.
Sure.
Maybe we would have started being active in the scene in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only reason that it took so long. So maybe I didn't do my homework there.
Aw, thanks, Cris. But before I let you go, for our listeners here who think that we're hesitant to grab that or take that first step, what would you advise to them if they think they have a great idea but then they're hesitant and they're like thinking that this might not fly? What can you tell them?
So, to those people who are listening and thinking about that, it's something that I myself have thought about a lot before starting this. There was a lot of, fear of failing, fear of failure, fear of ridicule, or all these scary thoughts. But then I would think that I was already in the stage of my life now. I have to take that leap already. To those people who are listening that are younger,
Mm-hmm.
I would really want to say that, maybe if you're still young, you can actually find the courage to do it. Because I did it 20 years after I did all the career building and business experience, right? And now that I'm here, all I could think about was maybe sana I just had the courage to have done this 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That making mistakes or failing is okay. It's part of the creative process. Failing is not really failing until you quit.
Right.
And sometimes discovery can be found in mistakes. So, you have to, if you really believe in the idea, this is what we call it, may kabog yung idea sa puso mo, go for it. Kasi even with all the challenges that you will face in trying to attain your vision, because of that intense feeling that you have, that this idea has to be birthed in the world,
Yeah,
seen by
yeah.
the world. It will just, that will keep you going. Alam mo yun? So, and the thing is, you don't want to be, I guess there's also, aside from like fear of failing, you also have to think about regret. Is that, the worst thing that could happen is that you see your idea being implemented by someone
else. That's
and
true.
you thought about it, diba? And that's I think every day, since we started Kazam, what keeps us going is that it's really rooted in a vision and mission of wanting to help others. So it goes beyond just profits or sales. No?
Sure.
So since it's that, parang it kind of helps us get overcome challenges or issues that we face daily, because there's that fire. So if you have a great idea and it's something that, basta mafe-feel mo yun eh. Just take the leap, because it's harder. I think it's easier coming from after I've experienced this 3 years of being a founder. I think it's easier to accept failure or mistakes rather than regret. If you ask me to choose between the two, I think mas madaling sabihin na I tried and I failed, or mas madaling tanggapin na at least sinubukan ko pero nag-fail ako, kesa sayang hindi ko nagawa. And then it's over. And then it's too late to do it because somebody else beat you to the punch.
Well said, well said.
Yeah.
What's next for Azcalun?
Okay, so Azcalun is still of course developing Kazam. We just launched several new features thanks to the Department of Science and Technology, DOST-𝗔𝗂𝘁.
Yeah.
So we are now really concentrated on acquisition, acquiring as many users as we want. We have proven that our MVP sells. Our platform is needed. A lot of feedback that we're getting is like homeowners are appreciative of the fact that there's an alternative way of finding.
That's
so it's a real pain point. And I love that they tell me things on how to improve it. I love it. And even if the feedback is negative, I still love it. Because, as a founder, sometimes the harder part is like what to do next, or like how to prioritize the list of things that you do. And the user feedback is what helps me navigate through that whole thing. And for the Kasambahays, the feedback that we get when we get emails that, uy, salamat po, nakahanap ako ng maayos na employer, ng mapapasukan. Oh my God, di ba? It like, oh my God. I mean, people are using it and it's really helping people. So that feeling, if you want to feel that, that's exactly why you should have the courage to start something.
Yeah.
Because nothing, no amount of money can buy that feeling of users telling you, salamat, thank you, you built this thing. I think that's it. More than anything. That feeling cannot be bought. That feeling cannot be, you cannot get that from being promoted. There's a different kind of fulfillment that you built something people are using and they're appreciative. Kahit hindi sila appreciative of it eh. Kasi, minsan hindi sila appreciative kasi gusto nila mapaganda mo pa. So, that one I think that's worth getting over any negative emotions you might feel or hesitation you might feel of starting something. And I think Filipinos are really genuinely creative. I think that we just lack the confidence sometimes. But we can. I think we can. I've spoken to a lot of great founders. So, Filipino founders. So I think we can do it. Yeah.
That was Cris Azaña, CEO and co-founder of Azcalun. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Steve.